How do you pronounce your name? I want to get it right, man.
Iwanun.
Iwanun. I see him so many times. Great comic. And then after that will be Olivia closing us out. Give it up for Iwanun, man.
Hey, what's up, you guys? Yeah, I saw this dog. I saw this guy walking this dog, looked exactly like my dog. But the only difference was that he had the tail cropped off, right? I'm like, that's kind of weird. Like, I wonder why he did that. I bet you $1 million that guy's circumcised. And the French president yesterday actually he swam across the French River to prove that it was clean, right? But in protest, all these French people started taking dumps in the river and shit. Yeah. I kind of feel bad for the president. I'm like, man, that's a shitty situation. I don't think English people can speak their language correctly, right? Like, in English, they don't say aluminum, right? They say aluminium. That's weird, right? And when they say, they don't say A to Z either. Like the letter Z, they say A to Z. Like, who the fuck is Z? And why, right? And the word comedian, too. They don't use that word. They have a more eloquent term. Unemployed actor. There was that thing going around the internet or whatever, where like if a woman met a bear, or had the chance to like, if you're alone in the woods, right, would you rather meet a bear or a man, right? And how women were like, oh yeah, I'd rather meet a bear, right? That's like really ignorant about bears though, you know what I mean? Because like I have met a bear in the woods, and he fucked the shit out of me.
Oh.
And the homeless, whatever, they're trying to rename them to like unhoused, right? And I'm like, I don't think that's the right way to go because when I was a kid, we didn't even call them homeless, right? We called them bums, And it was kind of a way of dissuading other people to be being homeless, right? Like even the movie Pulp Fiction, John Travolta is talking to Samuel Jackson. It's like, look, without a job and without a place, you're just gonna be a bum, right? And that makes Samuel Jackson think about it, So I was like, instead of going backwards, we should go forward, right? We should give him like the most derogatory name we could think of, so that the next generation won't want to be homeless. Yeah, I got the perfect name. You want to hear it? Open mic comedian. Yeah. Okay. I gotta tell this joke first. I was in the United States Army, first category. Yeah. Thank you. It was pretty cool, It was weird being the only Asian person, though. Yeah, every day people would just look at me like, are we supposed to shoot this guy? That's pretty cool, you get some good benefits being in the Army. But I would say the best benefit was the ability to give old men hard-ons. Yeah, old men, they love hearing Army stories. I guess because it makes them feel younger, it gives them hope for the future or something. But like, if I meet some old man in a park and I start telling Army stories, they start coming all over me. I'll tell you the story is the day we in process, right? All right, in processing, when you, all the tests. Okay, anyway, let me tell you the story. Okay, my recruiter, he takes me to the Bonaventure Hotel, right, in downtown LA. And he's like, hey, you see that line over there? Go over there and sign up, and then they'll tell you what to do. So I sign up, and they're like, they give me a room key and stuff, and they're like, go to sleep early, because we're gonna wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, right? I'm like, 3? I'm like 18 years old. I've never woken up at 3 o'clock, right? I'm like, fuck. So anyway, just as they said, right, 3 o'clock in the morning, phone ring, 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 ring. I pick it up, I'm like, hello, right? They're like, come downstairs, get on the bus, right? So I get on the bus, and they take us to this place. It's called this in-processing center, right? It's called the MEPS. I don't know what it stands for, but anyway, we're all there, and right away, the first thing they do is they break us up into our branches, right? Like Army over here, Navy here, Marines here, Air Force here, right? The first thing we all notice right away is that all the pretty girls are in the Air Force, and we're all like, fuck, anyway. So we go, we take these weird, I remember the first thing, we took this weird fucking IQ test, it's like, not like any test I've ever taken before. Like, I've always like weird like levers and pulleys, like, well, if you took away A, if you took away A, how much B is gonna go up, and all these weird things. Anyway, we take it, and then they break us up in these little groups, right? And then they're like, you go into this room, right? So I walk into this room, and I'm like, holy shit, right? Because it's full of dudes, right? They're all in their underwear, and they're like doing jumping jacks and like windmills and shit. And they're like, get in here, take off your clothes, right? I'm like what? I've never done this before, right? So I'm sitting there like taking off my clothes. I'm like, this is like the most uncomfortable thing I've ever done in my life, So I get in my underwear, and then I get into rows, right? I get into mine, and then there's a guy in front, right? He's telling everyone, all right, jumping jacks, okay, windmills, all right, do whatever, squats or whatever, right? And then there's these two other sergeants. They're going around. They're just looking at us, right? And then one of those sergeants, he yells to the guy next to me. He's like, "You, do that windmill again, right?" And the guy tries, but he can't go all the way up, right? And he's like, "You're out," right? And that was it. You know, that's how fast people were just getting cut, like, you know. And then the next test was like the vision test, and same thing. People were just getting cut left, right. You're out, right? Next was hearing, and then next was fucking like you get blood work, all these little things. You know, people were just getting cut for anything. There was this one guy. He was like this big old Mexican dude, right? He's all tatted up, and the whole time he's like telling us like how his dad was a Marine, his uncles and stuff, and how he's gonna be like the best Marine in the world. And then right away, that guy's like, "You're out." And he's like, "What? Why?" He's like, "Your neck is too thick. It measured too thick." And that was it. He almost started crying right then in front of everyone. Yeah. And then freaking just test after test, right? Like finally at like 5 o'clock at night, you know, I finished the last test and I passed, you know. And the sergeant, he shakes my hand. He's like, "Welcome to the United States Army, son." And I was like, "Thank you, Sarge," you know. I was so happy and so proud, you know. But then the rest of the time I was in the Army, I couldn't wait to get the fuck out of there. Yeah, you know, one rite of passage in the Army is the gas chamber, right? Yeah, right. None of us are really looking forward to it. It just sounds bad, you know. Anyway, the gas chamber is there so you can, so you have a healthy fear of chemical weapons, you know. Anyway, we're in the room, right, and they pop the smoke, right. We have our masks on, and it's all filled with smoke, right, but you don't feel anything, so I'm like, yeah, it's not that bad. And then they're like, "All right, take your mask off," right? So we take them off. We're like, "Oh yeah, there it is," right? And then we're supposed to say our social, right? So I say it, and then you say it, so you have to breathe some of it in, and then you're like, "Oh yeah, it's burning," but it's not that bad, you know. I'm like, this isn't that bad. And then they're like, "All right, go outside," you know. And right when that fresh air hit our face, it was like wham, you know. We're like, I'm fucking just burning, you know, just your nose, your eye, your throat, everything. It's just like on fire and shit. And then what it is, the chemicals are these little crystals, these little needle crystals that get embedded in your stuff, so you can't rub your eyes or anything. So you just gotta go like that, and then like you're trying to get the smoke off you, you know. And so we were just walking around circles for like 30 minutes, just blubbering, just snot and tears and everything, you know. Yeah, it's crazy. I haven't seen that many people crying and blubbering since our school bus ran over a dog. Right. Yeah, you know, the Army, whatever, everything makes sense in the Army, right, when you're in there. It's kind of like, I always thought of it like, it's like if you're in high school and everyone's a student, like even the teachers and the principal, like they're all students, you know, that's what the Army's like. And so it all makes sense, you know. Every rule is there for a reason. It's there for us to win, right, to win the next war, that's it. And so I'm guessing, you know, the Marines and Navy are probably the same, right? And then I think also like other countries, right, their militaries are probably the same also. And then when we get out to the civilian world, you know, the civilian world doesn't make sense at all. You know what I mean? It's like, nothing makes sense, you know, for a military person. It's like, well, what are we trying to accomplish? Like, I don't know. So, you know, for military people, we get kind of annoyed, right, at civilians. We're like, man, you know, you guys think you know everything, but you don't. You know, because you don't know about the military world, right? So, you know, the Earth, right, there's two worlds on the Earth, right? There's the civilian world and the military world. And you know, what did the Australian chess player say to the waiter? Checkmate. Yeah, I think Shaquille O'Neal's like the happiest man on earth, right? He's always so jolly, right? I think he's never been bullied. You know, how can you bully a man who's so tall, like his crotch is in your face? It's like, "Hey Shaq, give me your lunch money." Never mind. Yeah, I saw this billboard of this guy. He's a blind mountain climber, and he climbed to the top of Mount Everest. But I was like, how did he know he was on top of Mount Everest? You know, for all he knew, he could have just been right over there at Mount Whitney and stuff. And I was thinking, actually, that's a pretty good business idea. Taking blind mountain climbers up to the top of Mount Everest. Yeah, you know, a couple of weeks ago, North Korea sent over 200 balloons over to South Korea. Yeah, they're filled with garbage and excrement. But that statement's not exactly accurate, because they were filled with shitty trash. No, they were packed with Dane Cook's jokes. All right, I'll end with this last joke. You know, comedians will always tell you two things, right? They always tell you when they just get booked on a show, and they always tell you when they just had sex. That's a bit juvenile, right? Yeah, like myself, I haven't been booked on a show in over a month. But I did get laid last week, so I'm going to do whatever later for you.
Keep it going for